Hello everyone, this is Helios Raven. I tell you how I do it, even if you don't care. And we're going to conclude our in-depth look at the forces of Dark Eldar and Battlefleet Gothic with my final thoughts. All in all, hobby-wise, the Dark Eldar really got the shaft, mostly because they only got 2 ships, and because of this, you kind of lack creativity and uniqueness to your army, since basically no matter which Dark Eldar army you play, you're always going to have the same build in terms of vessels. You can try and make a little bit of uniqueness with your different armaments, giving yourself either a heavy ordnance payload army, a heavy weapon battery army, or a heavy lance battery army. You can make it a little bit unique, but the problem is again, there's just so many configurations you can do with 2 ships that it kind of hinders them in the creative side of the game. And I don't understand why the Dark Eldar got so little in terms of ship-wise when they got such amazing rules. I guess it might have been to counterbalance them, but rule-wise, these guys are amazing. The fact that they do 2 automatic damages if you roll very well with their lance shots. The Impaler attack is really awesome. And the Leech torpedoes are by far one of the best things in the game, which, because, like, again, minus 10 centimeters, cannot do all ahead full. Plus, it's cumulative damage repairs, which means, again, if you take 5 damage hits, it's not negative 50 centimeters from your move, but it means you have to repair the damage 5 times before the damage goes away, which is awesome. They also have about 40 centimeter speed, I believe, which makes them the fastest ships in the entire army. And they get the 90-degree turns, where they are kind of hindered with the Eldars not being able to do the Eldar 360-degree turn, but they get the benefit of using they still get a nice, pretty sharp angles that they can turn at sharp angles, which still makes them pretty maneuverable. And unlike the Eldar, since they can use all ahead full, they're allowed to ram ships, which is always really good. I've been in situations where I'm like, oh, I wish I could ram this ship, but I can't because I'm Eldar. But Dark Eldar have no problem with that. Dark Eldar also benefit from the holo fields as well. They also have the ability where for a couple of extra points, and I think it's very worth it, giving them mimic engines, which allows them to take an extra move before deployment, and then as long as they're out of 30 centimeter range from the other ships, they can't be fired on until the second turn, which is just awesome. That gives you so much playroom. They're the easiest vessels to fly forward, hit you with a bunch of missiles, fly past you, and then turn around and just stay behind you and since they reduce your movement so much and they have such a long range of speed, they can just stay behind you for the rest of the game. They're a very challenging army to play, mostly because of the fact that they are limited to their 2 ships, but again, the benefits very well outweigh the negatives of the army. They also are harder to hit. They aren't as fragile as the Eldar vessels, which is always a plus. They get Eldar torpedoes, and their ordnances can only be hit on a 6, which is really good no matter what. And all in all, like I said, in terms of rule-wise, in terms of in-game play, they are a very nasty army to face, and they're going to be one of the hardest vessels to fight because of the fact that they're so fast and they can reduce your speed so much, and that just makes them have the bit of an advantage over all the other armies. The only downside to them is really just the fact that because there's only 2 ships and there's just so many configurations you can do, that it's very hard to make a very unique army that that someone hasn't played before, making it very easy for your opponents to learn how to face the Dark Eldar eventually and be able to combat them a little bit better. But other than that, they are a very challenging army to play, but still, they are by far one of the most powerful armies if used right. And that's really all I can say about the Dark Eldar, because there really isn't much else for me to talk about with them. And so, like I said, if you really want a nice challenging army and you want to have a great advantage over a lot of the other forces, definitely the Dark Eldar is the army for you. And so join us next week when we'll talk about the Tau. So until then, this is Helios Raven signing off.